Picture this: the UK, a nation steeped in the rich history of pop music, with a legacy of producing some of the most iconic artists in the world. It's a place where the charts are a battlefield, and only the strongest survive. Yet, in the midst of this fiercely competitive landscape, something extraordinary happened. A song born from the heart of a K-pop artist broke through the walls of tradition and captivated the entire nation. The artist? None other than BTS's Jimin. The song? Who, from his second solo album Muse. It all started with a bang. When Who debuted on the UK official singles chart, it didn't just enter, it stormed in at an impressive number 4, a feat rarely seen for a K-pop solo artist. The UK, known for its discerning taste, had fallen under the spell of Jimin's voice, his artistry, and his undeniable charisma. But Jimin wasn't done yet. As the weeks passed, Who continued to enchant listeners, climbing to number 11 in its second week and holding a steady position at number 25 in its third week. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of success, it was a statement. Jimin had arrived, and he was here to stay. But it wasn't just about the numbers. The impact of Who was felt deep in the hearts of listeners across the UK. This wasn't just another song on the radio. It was an anthem, a piece of art that spoke to the emotions of millions. Jimin's voice, laced with raw emotion and vulnerability, resonated with a depth that transcended language barriers. It was as if he had opened a window into his soul, allowing listeners to see the world through his eyes. Who didn't just conquer the UK singles chart, it dominated the UK singles sales and downloads charts as well, holding the number 1 spot for 3 consecutive weeks. This achievement made history, marking the longest consecutive run at number 1 for any K-pop artist in the UK. And for Jimin, it was a crowning moment, a moment that solidified his status as the king of K-pop on a global stage. The magic didn't stop there. On the UK's official Big Top 40 chart, the biggest radio chart show in the country, Who surprised everyone by catapulting to number 1 after just 2 days of airplay. It was an unprecedented achievement, one that left even the most seasoned music critics in awe. And then, as if to prove that it wasn't a fluke, Who held on to the top spot for a second week before eventually settling at number 17 in its third week. The song's power was undeniable, and it became clear that Jimin was more than just an artist. He was a force of nature. And it wasn't just Who that was making waves. Be Mine, another track from Muse, quietly began its ascent on the charts, re-entering the UK official single download chart at number 10 and the sales chart at number 11. This track, too, carried the same emotional weight, the same sense of artistry that had made Who such a phenomenon. Jimin was no longer just a K-pop idol, he was a storyteller, weaving narratives of love, loss, and hope into every note. As the UK continued to bask in the glow of Jimin's success, across the Atlantic, the United States was experiencing its own Jimin revolution. On Billboard's main album chart, the Billboard 200, Muse secured a strong position at number 32, while Who held its ground at number 24 on the Hot 100, maintaining its place among the top songs in the country for 3 consecutive weeks. It wasn't just about the charts, though. It was about the connection Jimin was forging with his listeners. His music wasn't just being heard, it was being felt deeply by fans across the globe. Jimin's influence extended beyond the main charts, reaching into the detailed rankings as well. Muse took the number 2 spot on the World Albums chart and ranked 14th on both the top album sales and top current albums charts. Who continued its dominance on the Global 200, securing the number 5 spot, and on the digital song sales chart, where it placed 16th. Even Be Mine made surprise re-entries on the global, excluding US and Global 200 charts, further proving that Jimin's music had a universal appeal that couldn't be contained by borders or genres. In a world where music trends come and go, Jimin's success is more than just a flash in the pan. It's a testament to the power of authenticity and emotional connection. His music, filled with the raw, unfiltered emotions of his own experiences, has touched the hearts of millions. And as he continues to break records and set new standards, one thing is certain: Jimin is not just a K-pop artist. He's a global icon, a trailblazer who is redefining what it means to be a musician in the modern world. And this is just the beginning. The world better be ready for what Jimin has in store next, because he's not just making music, he's making history.